We're on? Alright, Rabbi Say, please, if I could have your attention for a couple of minutes.
Okay, stock market, what's it?
Yes. So, yeah, we're on. Good. It's on already. Good. Making sure. Alright, Rabotai, our shiur today is sponsored by a couple of anonymous sponsors, first of all. A guy from Germany, a guy from Florida. Everybody chipped in. I said, you guys, had to chip in on a meat day. Would have made a nice hilula. Today's, so may Hashem bless all of them with bracha, revacha, tzlacha, parnasat tova, shefa, zivugim agunim. The kol yishod, the chen yatzmin omar, amen. Today is also, I want to remind you guys, the hilula Ravi Shimshon Ma'astropolia, who was the Mashiach ben Yosef of his generation. He died in 1648 by Chmielnicki, one of the Kosakim. The Cossack pogroms in 1648, 1649 was such a big thing. In Jewish accounts, close to 500,000 Jews were killed. In the Goyim's account, they always like to mess with numbers like they did with the Gaza war. So they say only like 5,000 Jews were killed, but our numbers are closer to half a million.
So big town?
It was all of Ukraine. All of Ukraine. So Chmielnicki, many said that it's Anya. Chmielnicki, many said that he was Gog Umagog. Chmielnicki, because we're going to learn today, Japheth. There's three brothers, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Japheth, he had many kids. His oldest kid was Gomer. His second kid was Magog. And we know that the last battle, World War III, if you want to call it, is called Gog and Magog. Gog being the prince of Magog. So the Gemara, in our Gemara today, is discuss who's Magog. What country is that? Where is it from? Right? Today, it's in the Gemara. For example, Gomer, the first son of Japheth, is Germania. Does it sound familiar? Germany, right? No, so it's over here. You count the Gra says that Gomer, the first son, is Germania. And we're gonna see in the Gemara that was the Gra's Taich of the Gemara. And then it gets to the youngest son. The youngest son is called Tiras. Tiras, the Gemara says, is Paras. Paras. Tiras, Paras. Right? I taught you guys many times that the name Iran was only from the 1930s. Right? Yeah. The name after the area. Paras. Farsi. What do they speak? Farsi. Right? They don't speak, they speak Persian. They don't speak Islam. They don't speak Muslim language, Arabic language. Correct? They have totally different language. When Yomach Shemo, this Khamenei, when he meets with the Palestinian leaders, he always has a translator because he can't speak to them in Arabic. He has to have a translator because he speaks in Persian, completely different language. So we're going to learn today where all these countries come from and why exactly the Gemara, right now what's going on in the world, is that there's an imminent attack of Iran, Paras, on Eretz Israel. Why does that change the whole, how we look about the end of days? How come it's so important? Israel was attacked by Saddam Hussein in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, 80s, right? The Gulf War. 92, he was attacked, during Bush's time, the father Bush, right? When Saddam Hussein was from which country? Iraq. Babel, Iraq. He once famously said about himself that he was Nebuchadnezzar. Like Nebuchadnezzar ruled the world, he said, I want to rule the Middle East at least. So when Iraq was bombing, they sent 40 Scud missiles, right? And none of them killed anybody. It was like a whole big miracle, like 39. No, there was one that went in an open area, but 39 hit, right? So when he was sending the missiles, the rabbi in that generation, he was a Mikubal, one of the Mikubalim, said, it's not going to lead to anything big. He said, why? Until Iran doesn't get involved itself, all the countries could fight against Israel. It doesn't mean anything. When Paras gets involved, we're going to see from this Gemara we're going to do today, it changes the whole game. And we already saw, what day was it? I think the 10th of Nisan, it was Motzei Shabbat. They sent 300 drones and missiles against Israel. Right, we already forgot about that. We have to remind ourselves of why did we forget? Because we said, oh, America came to its aid, UK came to its aid, they sent the missiles, right? It's all from the people. It's not Hashem. So Hashem has to make such a thing that we know that it's Yad Hashem Mamash. How's Hashem going to do that? All the nations have to leave Am Yisrael. They have to leave them, and we're going to be alone against Paras. And when Paras comes inside Eretz Yisrael, he's really coming with Russia, and he's coming with China. And we're going to learn over here today that, according to one of the opinions, China is Magog. China. And the Great Wall of China was actually called Al-Magog. One of its original names. That's what it was called, Al-Magog. So a lot of different opinions over here, but I kind of like it's all getting together because today the American general comes to Israel, right? Forget his name. He comes and he's with the Secretary of Defense. And who was with the Iranians today? The Russian general. So we see there is an axis of evil over here versus I don't know if to call it an axis of good, but something is going on over here and we're witnessing history. I want to remind you guys that according to the Zohar, Tchiyat HaMetim has to happen in the year 5086. We're right now 5784. According to the Zohar, it has to happen 214 years before the year 6000. That's in 2 years. According to the Zohar Kadosh. Huh? In 2 years. Yeah, we're in 5784 right now. According to the Zohar, the first Tchiyat HaMetim has to happen 214 years before. The Zohar in Zohar Chadash says, how does Tchiyat HaMetim happen? First the Avot get up. First Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov get up. They will confirm who's Mashiach. They're going to come with Eliyahu and Navi. And then after the Avot get up, then Moshe, well, Mashiach himself is Moshe. They're going to go with the Yosef HaTzadik, with the Shivatim, and it's going to be in stages, Tchiyat HaMetim. The least people are going to get up right before the year 6000. But in the second opinion in the Zohar, it says that Tchiyat HaMetim, the first Tchiyat HaMetim, has to happen in 6 years. In 6 years. So what does the Leshem show up in the year 5790? In 6, we're 5784. So in 6 years, 5790, right? So how do we reconcile both opinions? So the Leshem Sholach Lama says Tchiyat HaMetim is actually a process. Both rabbis are right. So one is going to happen in 2 years, in 5786. Then the next one is going to happen in 6 years. Then the next one is going to happen again. It's going to be slowly and slowly. Because if everybody's going to get up in one time, it's going to be a zombie land over here. They're going to make movies out of this thing, right?
You're going to break the economy.
Exactly. But you'll be surprised. Not everybody's getting up. You'll be surprised. You think everybody's getting up. Everybody's so worried. If I come back in so many Gilgulim, which one of me is going to get up? Khalili, say thank you for going to get up at all. Okay? Because it's very easy not to get up. If you're a kofir, for example, if you say the Torah is real but the rabbis are fake, they make up stuff. Many people believe that. A lot of people believe that. They say the Torah is real, but Tisha B'Av, for example, it's coming up. It's man-made. They made it up. You're a kofir. The person who says that is a kofir. He's a kofir. He's not getting up in Tchiyat HaMetim. He could keep Shabbat. He could put on tefillin. He could wear very expensive tefillin. But and his mitzvah don't go to waste, of course. But that body isn't going to get up in Tchiyat HaMetim. If a person doesn't want to get married, like Chizkiyahu HaMelech, remember, he didn't want to get married. He knew in Ruach HaKodesh his sons were going to be Rishayim. I don't want to get married. A person just wants to live his life free. He wants to do whatever he wants, all this field in the world, right? This kind of guy doesn't get up in Tchiyat HaMetim.
His future.
So what? It's not up to you to decide what's your future. You could know whatever you want. But Hashem says you have to get married. You have to get married. So that's two examples. Or let's say there's many people who don't believe there's such a thing as Mashiach. There's people, they say it's all fake, it's all baloney. No, that's already, they say out of, So a person who believes it's all baloney, like I knew this one guy, I told you guys the story before, he was fixing my dad's ACs. I'm talking a couple of years back, when I used to live there. This guy looked religious, he had peot even. He came to fix his ACs, and you know how my dad is, he gets into conversations with everybody. So he gets into conversation, in the middle of the conversation, I hear him yelling from downstairs, Ata kofer, Ata kofer. So I come down, say like, who's the kofer? How did the kofer get in here? So the guy is telling him, he was Israeli, guy said, Ani lo ma'amin b'Mashiach. The Mashiach par yesh lanu medinat Yisrael, you know? It could be he was saying it out of ignorance, so he just didn't study the subject, right? But the problem is that there's a lot of people who think they're going to get up and they're not going to get up. You still say Kaddish for them and all that stuff because you never know. Lo yidach mimenu nidach. But at the end of the day, if you think that, how he said it, the real estate is going to blow up, no, there's room on this planet for trillions of people. Not billions, trillions of people. As a side point, there's, they're trying to go to Mars, right? Because they say that we could change the environment of Mars to make it like Earth. So one scientist gets up, and he's a liberal. He gets up and he says, if we have the technology to turn Mars into Earth, why can't we fix Earth and make it a better Earth? Yeah. If you already have that technology, then why do you have to go to Mars and do that, Brilliant idea. It's all rubbish, it's all nonsense, obviously. So today we're going to learn that whatever we see happening with Iran, it's very exciting. If you guys hear a little bit about what's going on within the rabbis right now, they're all very excited. Very excited because this is a huge thing. Iran is saying we're going to directly hit, and Israel can't take that sitting down. It's going to be a tug of war. You guys don't know this, but you see Israel as Tel Aviv and Cholon and Yerushalayim. That's how you see Israel. Those are only 3 cities. The rest of Israel, there's 100,000 people. For 9 months, they don't live in their homes. 100,000 people. They don't go to school. They don't go anywhere. They live in hotels. 100,000 people. Do you know how many widows there are in Israel right now? Now there's a huge campaign. Do you know that the rabbis, they've stopped funding to all yeshivot? There's no funding to yeshivas anymore. The 3 big rabbis, Rav Landau, the 2 other rabbis, they had to raise over $100 million. That's just for, how many years that's for? 100 million, it's for 1 year. That's just the funding they need for 1 year. Look at Am Yisrael, look how much tzedakah they gave. London itself gave $12 million. Just the rich people of the London. America gave like 86 million, the rich people in America. Am Yisrael gives, this is our zechuyot. Why did Hashem take away the zechut of funding yeshivas from the government of Israel? Why did Hashem take away that zechut? Why did you think? Not that we can do it. To take away their protection. Because before Mashiach comes, it's like he's going to come to the Knesset and be like, hi guys, I have, here's my documentation, here it is, here's Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. They say, what are you talking about? Get out of here, you're a kook, right? You have, some kind of syndrome in your head. First, this whole thing has to go away. Everything has to go bye-bye. The old system has to go bye-bye. And then the new system could come in. So what's going to happen? All these things that are happening right now, it's birth pangs. And it's written in our Gemara. It's so beautiful how it's written over here. It's crazy. And the end part of this Gemara is going to shock you. But before we get to the end part of the Gemara, we have to start from the beginning. Okay? And to start from the beginning, we have to understand how this ties in right now with Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av. So first of all, the words of Tisha B'Av, the 9 days of Tisha B'Av are very, very holy days. I told this, I think, to the guys yesterday. I was learning with them. I said, Tisha B'Av, that 9 days of Tisha B'Av was supposed to be as holy as Aseret Yemei Teshuvah. If you look, how many weeks we have from the 17th of Tammuz until Tisha B'Av? 3 weeks. How many days is that? 21 days. If you count from Rosh Hashanah till Simchat Torah, is how many days? 21 days. Simchat Torah is the 22nd day. The 9th of Av was supposed to be a 10th of Av too. That 10th of Av was supposed to be as holy as Yom Kippur. Now what happened was, anybody here know the halakha? Do we right away go from Tisha B'Av to everything is allowed on the 10th of Av? Or also on the 10th of Av, we also do have like some part of the 10th of Av, we don't eat meat on that day either. Some stuff we don't do here and there. Some stuff are already allowed. But the meat part is still not allowed on the 10th of Av. Why? The 10th of Av, technically speaking, is part of the 3 weeks. So it's really 22 days. Now, Simchat Torah is on the 22nd of Tishrei, right? It's the 22nd day. And the 22nd day from the 3 weeks falls exactly on the 10th of Av. The 9th of Av is the day before. And it corresponds to Yom Kippur. It's the same thing. Now, these 3 weeks are very supposed to be holy days. Because what happened in the desert? First, Moshe Rabbeinu sends the spies. What day was it? When did he send them? On the 17th of Av, right? And when did they come back? On Tisha B'Av, right? So when they went and they came back, right? They were supposed to come back with good news. Like, guys, it's time to go in. Let's go in right now. Moshe Rabbeinu was supposed to go in. It was supposed to be the end game, right? Well, and Aharon HaKohen was supposed to be Kohen Gadol in Eretz Yisrael. When they came back, they blew up the whole thing. What did they say? There's no parnasa over there. There's giants over there. We can't deal with the tension in Eretz Israel. And they ruined everything. But in its potential energy, what is Tisha B'Av? Is it a good time or a bad time?
Holiday.
It's a great time. We don't even say Ana on Tisha B'Av. There's no Tachanun on Tisha B'Av. Right? Now, the word Tisha B'Av is also the word Shabbat. Tisha B'Av. Tav Shin Bet Shabbat. That means Tisha B'Av is supposed to be as holy as Shabbat Kodesh. It's very holy. Now, on what day of the whole year are all Jews friends? Yom Kippur we're friends, but Tisha B'Av we're more than Yom Kippur. Why? Look at that. You look at the feast. You look at the light. Everybody's in the kotel. They're all singing together. They all sleep on each other. My wife, when she was a young girl, she was by the kotel on Tisha B'Av. All night over there, people stay there in the heat. They lay down on each other. Nobody cares. Everybody feels it. There's a lot of ahavat chinam going on Tisha B'Av. And the reason is because in its essence, Tisha B'Av is supposed to be a very holy and special day. It's supposed to be a moed. It is a moed. We don't say tachanun on it. And we're very close, guys. We're very close. That this year Tisha B'Av could turn into the Simchat Torah that we were supposed to have this past year. We're very close to that. We could turn it all around. If they turned our Simchat Torah into Tisha B'Av, it's time we turn our Tisha B'Av into Simchat Torah. Now, I forgot which Hasidic Rebbe says that. He says, we say in the Shmonai, said, Baruch Atah Hashem, Boneh Yerushalayim. What is Boneh Yerushalayim? It build in past tense, present tense, future tense. What is boneh? When I say I'm building something, I say baniti, I say ani yivne, or I say boneh. Ani boneh achshav.
Right now.
Right now. That means when you say every Shmonai, are you lying when you say in Shmonai these words? Are you a liar? Shalom? You say Baruch Atah Hashem boneh Yerushalayim. Blessed are you Hashem that you are building Yerushalayim. You see, ever since Hashem destroyed Yerushalayim, He started to build it the day after. He already started it because we said boneh Yerushalayim. The day after, we said Bonei Yerushalayim. Hashem was already building Yerushalayim. It's happening slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly until there's a bag of souls in Shamayim. Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya saw this bag. This is in the year 1942. He said in this bag is all the souls, and he said the bag was already empty in 1942. The bag was already empty. Do you know Yirmiyahu Hanavi, Jeremiah the prophet, came to Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya. He has a book that was printed. I told you guys about this book, all of his visions that he had. In his book, he writes today, Yirmiyahu Hanavi came to me. One day I'm going to read you this book. Put his hands on top of me and said, I make you a Navi. Your visions are real. He used to do She'elat Chalom, questions to Shamayim. He used to answer him. Who has this problem? Why is this? Why is that? He said, I make you into a Navi, he told him. Do you know Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya saw David HaMelech? He saw Shlomo HaMelech. He saw Eliyahu HaNavi. He saw Sfirot. He saw Moshe Rabbeinu. Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya. You know what he says in his book? In his book of the dreams over there, Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya says over there, in the future, how will Hashem clean Yerushalayim? How will He do it? He said, any goy that will be in Yerushalayim for more than 3 hours will drop dead. If a goy will just want to be in Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim will kick him out, will spit him out. That's how it's going to happen. He says over there, in the future, Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya saw us in 1942. They're going to send missiles to Yerushalayim. Chitzim. Chitzim is what? Missiles. Arrows. Missiles. He says Hashem is going to make... We're not going to need Kippat Barzel. We're not going to need the Iron Dome. The missiles are going to... It's what he sees it. We're talking about 1942. He writes this in his book. This was his personal journal. He says he sees it. The missiles are turning around. Instead of hitting Yerushalayim, goes back on the place where it came from. It's going to blow up Paras itself. He said, and people are going to say, how is this happening to these Jews? How are these Jews doing these things? It's going to be such an awakening of tshuva. Now, this is what he writes in his book, Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya. And he writes over there that they told him in a dream that Mashiach's coming is a process. And he says the process is going to start. You're going to start to see it in big in the year of Hod, Shebehod, Shebehod. What's Hod, Shebehod, Shebehod?
Next year.
The year was, what year was COVID? 2020. 2020, right? 5780. 5780, 5780. That was 4 years ago when COVID hit. All the Mekubalim were looking at this book. They were like, something big is supposed to happen. Bam, COVID hit. Remember when COVID hit and everybody was Pesach at home? You guys remember that? Everybody was going crazy. This is the Pesach. You guys forgot about it already. This is the Pesach, like we were in the first Pesach. You guys think that it was all fake, all that stuff. That stuff was real. He writes in his book, it's going to be the beginning of the real contractions. No, when a woman gets contractions, there's something called, I forgot the name, those fake contractions, something bricks. What's it?
Braxton Hicks.
Braxton Hicks.
Yeah.
Exactly. Braxton Hicks. So it's called fake contractions, but it means it's getting there. You're already at the 9th month. So there was the Braxton Hicks contractions. 1967, 1948, Yom Kippur. Then suddenly came the big stuff. Guys, in 1 year, Israel has been bombed by Iran, killed, massacred, babies burned in microwaves. There's hundreds of hostages. Today was that redhead kid's 5th year, 5-year-old birthday. He's in the Chevy. Him and his brother had their birthdays in the Chevy. Girls are over there, hostages, things crazy about it. Bombed by Iran, happened again. The whole United Nations is against us. You know what the United Nations said today? Yeah, UNRWA? UNRWA is like their organization. They admitted only 9. They said 9? Israel got 9? The whole UNRWA is complicit. They were all Hamasnikim. How you say only 9?
Well,
you understand? They themselves are terror. They themselves are against Am Yisrael over it. Everybody there is bought by Russian and Chinese money. Everybody. Why did Trump want to close the United Nations? He said we have in United States soil a place for all the spies and all the things to come in. Why should I fund this thing? Right away he said that, they all went against him. He said all these things happening right now. We're gonna see the next birth pain. It's happening. It could happen. It could be happening as we're talking right now. The Gemara says like this. Listen to this. They said, Migdash Sheni, says the Gemara, the second temple. Hayu oskim b'Torah. They used to learn Torah in the second temple. In the first temple, there was a time when people didn't even know when is Yom Kippur. There was prophets in the first temple, but there was a time where people didn't even know when is Yom Kippur. They ate on Yom Kippur.
Wow.
Did you believe that? They didn't know the halachot. In the second temple, there was Torah. There was Gimilut Chasadim. Why was it destroyed? The Gemara says, because there was baseless hatred. I want to ask you guys a question. Let's deal with this thing for a second, baseless hatred. Oh, Jews hate each other, they hate each other, they hate each other. What in the Torah is called a sonnet? In the language, because by the Goyim, when they say I hate you, it's a very strong emotion. Probably the most strongest emotion besides for love, right? Like, here is love, the exact opposite of love is hatred, right? In Judaism, halachically, what does it mean a person hates you? Is there a halacha in the Torah that says what's hatred?
If you don't love him as much as you love yourself,
if you didn't speak to the guy in 3 days,
that's hatred.
that's hatred. If you basically, you not ignore, but you avoid him. You see the guy, I don't want to talk to him. I avoid him. For 3 days you did that, you couldn't make peace. Or you didn't say good morning to the guy in 3 days. If you see him for 3 days, exactly. Or 3 times, how is that? That's already considered a soneh. Halachically, it's a soneh. There's a machloket in the Gemara. Could a soneh be your witness? Let's say he saw something happen. Could he testify for you or against you? Do we say maybe he hasn't spoken to the guy in 3 days? Maybe he'll testify against you. Or do we say, no, Am Yisrael, we don't suspect him of doing that? It's a whole halachic discussion. Masechet Sanhedrin, page 24, 25, somewhere over there. So that's called sin'ah. Now, when the Gemara said, now, you're not going to destroy the Beis Hamikdash because a guy didn't speak to each other for 3 days. That's obviously not what he's talking about over here, right? When he talks about sinat chinam in this context, it's not talking about religious Jews hating religious Jews, even though there's plenty of that too, right? But that's not enough to destroy Hashem's house and take us out to Galut to a time where we don't even know when we're coming back. And even when we're back, we don't know that we're back. We still say we're in Galut even though we're back. The hatred over here that he's talking about is the hatred, the Gemara says, that secular reform, back then it was called Tzedukim, Sadducees, people who, those elitist Jews that throw off the whole Torah from them? Like, they say the Democratic Party gets all the votes of the Jews. Which Jews' votes do they get? Mine's and yours? Every religious Jew is a diehard right winger, right? What Jews are lean left? The elitists, the rich ones who threw away the whole Torah, and they're only Jewish by wearing that ribbon or that star once a year. They go pay their dues, their memberships, right? There are some Jews, when they see a religious Jew, they see a Talmid Chacham, they call him a parazit. They hate him. They can't stand the sight of a guy with a beard. All religious Jews smell. All religious Jews, they're cheats. They see a religious Jew and they say he's a ganav. The guy doesn't even know him. Comes to give him a hug. Get away, you smell. You disgust and hate him. That's baseless hatred. In the second base on Mikdash, if you read the book Josephus, who destroyed Yerushalayim? Who destroyed Yerushalayim? The Gemara says we destroyed. When Vespasian, 2 years he couldn't break into Yerushalayim. Now Yerushalayim wasn't as big as today. It was the old city. That was Yerushalayim. Okay, there were walls over there, but the Roman army, without jet planes and anything, they conquered from Rome till England. You know what that is? From Rome until England? By foot, by horses, by chariots, just by tactics. That's without bombs and fighter jets. These guys were. Do you know there was one army back then? The Romans beat them. It was a Roman general called Scipio. Now this guy was crazy. There was one guy called Hannibal. Not the guy who eats people. Hannibal. He was a general of Carthage. Carthage is what we call today Tunisia, North Africa. This guy, to defeat the Romans, took elephants. He marched them around through the Alps. Guys, you know what the Alps are? Those frozen mountains. He took them around just to attack Rome and sack Rome. He won. This Scipio was so crazy, he didn't care, he didn't have enough men. He rose whatever he could, he went back, and he turned Carthage into dust. You think these guys couldn't defeat a small city, Yerushalayim? They couldn't defeat it. It was all Yad Hashem. What did Vespasian? Vespasian was around Yerushalayim for a year, more than a year. He couldn't break through. He said, I can't beat these guys. I can't break through their walls. Then suddenly he heard the Jews were fighting amongst themselves. Why? Each one had his own party. You guys are about to die. Unite. No, my way of Judaism is right. This one was a Sadducee. This one say the rabbis are fake. This one say I'm elitist, I have all the money. This one said like this. And all during this time, the rabbis were quiet. What did the rabbis do? They saw all these politicians wanted control even in destruction. There was one rabbi who was very smart. Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai. He said, take me out in the bed. Like I'm dead. Takes him out, meets Vespasian. He says, Hail Caesar. He says that you owe death right now. You're not allowed to call it General Caesar. At that moment, a messenger came in. Nero vanished. No more Nero. That's Rabbi Meir Balanes's grandfather. Nero is gone. They made you Caesar. He looks at him. I guess I am Caesar. Yeah, 3 wishes. What does he say? Let the rabbis out of Yerushalayim and go to yeshiva. That's how he saved Judaism. And all the elitists with their money and this and that went down in the ruins of Yerushalayim. One rabbi with hindsight saved all of Judaism. How did it all come back again? All this rotten core of Judaism. No, there was no such kind of thing as a secular Jew until Berlin, Germany. There was no such kind of thing. What happened? A Jew himself, Karl Marx Visiato, got up. Let's reform society. Let's reform the working man. What about the working man? The first things first. We need to give the working man a reason to unite. How do you do that? What gives men power? Religion. So we gotta take religion and flush it down the toilet. And atheism and communism became one. But the working man wants money. So he joined with him, this communist manifesto. What happened? Where are all the Jews living? A lot of them in White Russia, Poland, Ukraine, all that. They all... Now, at the same time, there's a crazy guy that lives in Berlin, religious Jew, Moses Mendelssohn. We're talking about not long ago. This is a blink in history. He gets up and he says Jews have to go to university. They must. Back then, university was not like today. You go in there, you come out, a goy. Complete goy. He goes inside there, he says Jews must go to university. He's pushing, we have to be elitist, we have to be high level in society. All the Jews are rich. They have good standings in Berlin. And the poison of university on one hand, intellectuality, and on the other hand, the working class seeped into the Jewish people. And what happened? What came out of there? Which disease? Where is the Erev Rav today? Reform Judaism is a dying trend, but what's the big Erev Rav today? I'm sorry to say this to you guys. That's a good one too. Zionism. Communism and intellectual universities, they had a baby, and that baby was Zionism. Now, I'm not against Eretz Yisrael. Don't take me by the tongue. Don't take me by the tongue. But the first Jews who came in 1948, now there were Jews already there, were communist intellectual Jews who wanted to do one thing and one thing only: send the religious Jews back to the ovens. When they got a phone call, what was the guy's name? Not Eichmann. There was another one. Very high guy over there. Huh? Not Mengele.
Goebbels.
Was it Goebbels? He was in charge. Who was the one who had the final solution? Eichmann. Eichmann. When Eichmann saw that the Germans were losing all their money because Russia was attacking from here, the United States was attacking from here, Germany's in the middle, he said, we need money. So he was ready to offer, listen to this is the untold story, $1 million for 1 million Jews. He was ready to offer $1 million for 1 million Jews. When the guy came, it was before 1948. It was just starting, the World Congress, all that stuff, of the Zionism. When they heard that, they said, who's all the people over there? Which kind of people are they? Are they young socialists? Or they're Pisati? When they heard that they were the Kukuli, they said, you could keep them.
Who said?
Huh?
The Jews said. The Jews said.
Your names? I'm telling you, it was the communists, the first Zionists. And said, no, the Bolsheviks is their father. That's the Red Army, right? They were Bolsheviks. Understand? Now, the Bolsheviks, they went to China. And all of China is what? Communist socialist. And who's the best friend of China? Russia. And Russia's friends with Paras. And Paras is making us all the bio. Now, what's happening right now? What happens is that eventually, these people don't have children. They just don't have kids. Because they're intellectuals. They're not going to clean diapers. They're not going to work at a farm, right? So either they have to hire slaves to do their job, or either they just don't do it. Now, on the other hand, the religious Jews, by 2050, they're going to be almost close to the population, half of the population of Israel. By 2050. We're in 2024 right now. In 25 years. If they keep on going on the same rate. So what do these Zionists have to do to destroy the religious Jewish population?
No more funding for yeshiva funds.
First, they stop funding yeshivot.
So they're doing the other way.
Now they have to go to the army. You want money? Go to the army. And what is the army? They go off the Gadaev over there. Yeah, today was the first day of enlistment. Today was the first day. What did the rabbi say? What's the problem? Go to the army. Had the Bukharian parents say, be a man. I'm going to make you into a man. Go to the army. Now, not everybody goes to the army. He's fighting on the front line. Right? He's a worker. He's this, he's that. This army is an induction place to change the minds of young people. So what do the big Rashi Yeshivot get up and say? Yehareg v'al ya'avor. Why they say Yehareg v'al ya'avor? Die but don't go. Because they know the end game is not to be a soldier. The end game is to change society. So this fight that we had since the second temple of Sinat Chinam is still going. This hatred that the Erev Rav has for us, this hatred is still going today. You're living inside of it right now. But we're so blind because we don't look at the world. We just look at how we go to work and how do we come back. That's all we look about. But we don't understand it's still going. You're living in it right now. You're living in it right now. And we might see the end of it. Says the Zohar, Tikkunei Zohar. It says the Erev Rav, when was their first time that they opened up? When was their first hit to the Jews? Egel Hazav. What did they do in the Egel Hazav? Vayar ha'am, and the nation saw ki boshesh Moshe. What's boshesh Moshe? Moshe was late. He was late. So when did they start the whole balagan? At the 6th hour of the day. Right? They were off by 6 hours. So Hashem says, Beshesh, Vayar ha'am, and the nation saw ki Beshesh Moshe. What's Beshesh? In the 6th hour. What millennium are we in right now? In the 6th. The Zohar says, between the 6th and the 7th millennium, towards the end, the Erev Rav, that's when they killed us with the Egel. Now Hashem said, now I'm gonna clean you up. Exactly at the moment that you did it to them, I'm gonna do it to you. When is the end of the 6th millennium? Before the 7th? When is the last hour? We're right now inside. Right now is in the cosmic clock, 12:45. We're in Mincha time already. It's the 6th hour. We're in the 6th hour right now, the 6th millennium, the second half of the day. You understand? And when you look at it like this, you have a different understanding what's going on in the world. I mean, that means this world is not just about what tiles I get from my house and how I put the cement and what kind of hood I'm gonna get and where I'm gonna eat next week, which restaurant I'm gonna go. Guys, we're about to see the world going into a cataclysmic event. It's happening already. It's already happening. It's birth pains. We're past the Braxton Hicks already. We're into full. There's an opening. It's an opening. The opening is starting, and we're still sleeping. Who's sleeping? The religious Jews are sleeping. We're sleeping. Right now is the time, I saw a campaign. We don't want your money, they said. Take a name of a soldier, take one mitzvah upon yourself for the guy. Take one mitzvah. You guys saw this campaign? It was although I sent it. So I didn't say, somebody else sent it. Maybe I also did. But just do one mitzvah, some extra mitzvah. Do one mitzvah, do one chesed. Do one tzedakah. Do something good. Say I'm doing this not to get tzachar. I'm doing this for what? For the sake of Klal Yisrael, guys. Rabbi Daftaya in 1940, he saw that the bag was getting empty. We're in the last nitzotzot. The last nitzotzot. This is us, our generation. You guys get to see it. What does the Gemara say? Blessed is the one who's going to be there to witness it to the end. Blessed is the one. But I don't want to be there myself. I don't want to be there in the balagan. We're afraid. The rabbis were afraid. The rabbis were afraid. I want to read you one Gemara over here. It's a beautiful Gemara. The Gemara says, in the first temple, it was destroyed. How many years we came back after? 70 years. After 70 years. Why 70 years? Even though they had Gilui Arayot. You guys know what that is, right? Shpichut Damim. Murder. And Avodah Zarah. They came back after 70 years. Says the Gemara, why? They had the worst sins. You know why? There was no sin'ah. There was no kind of thing that the Chiloni would hate the Dati. Why? There was no Chiloniut. There was no. It just didn't exist in the first temple. Everybody was Dati. But you know how you see it? You could see it. When the Sephardic Jews came from Morocco, Bukhara, they came from, Algeria, Tunisia, where else they came from? Afghanistan. We were all the same. There was just a guy who kept Torah more, and a guy who kept Torah less. But there was a lot of respect for Chachamim. Kiss the rabbi's hands. Stand up for him. When the older person said something, the younger one shut his mouth. There was no kind of thing, intellectualism. I'm too smart. This thing happened to us here, in this country. That's when it got to us. Okay? For the money, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be high in society. This intellectual, I'm smart and you're stupid, so shut your mouth. Back then, it was no kind of thing. We didn't have this kind of stuff, right? So they didn't have that in the first temple. So after 7 years, Hashem said, but they did Gilui Arayot. Gilui Arayot they did. There was Averot. No, it's okay. It's fine. Second was what? Shpichut Dam. They had Sinat Chinam. What does it say? Ochlin v'shotin ze'em zeh. They eating and drinking with one another. Aval b'charavot b'lshonam. But their tongues are like daggers behind each other's back. Each one is trying to, in the second temple, they had enough food for 10 years for the whole population in Jerusalem. 10 years. One guy said, no, it's going to go my way. Who was he? Another communist over there. Shimon Giora, his name was. Shimon Giora. Some say he was a ger. He went with all of his guys, he burnt the whole thing down. The working man, we have to fight. It's the same thing. It's the same Mishagah. He burned the whole thing down. That's called, they eat with each other, but with daggers, they stick each other in the back. The Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar have a machloket. They said, not machloket, they say, in the first temple, the Torah says, what was our Avera? Since Hashem embarrassed us by telling us what our Avera was, that embarrassment took away a lot of the galut. When you embarrass somebody, a lot of his Averot go away. So since in the Torah says what was their Aveira in the first temple, they came back after 70 years. But in the second temple, we didn't have any prophets. So they weren't able to write anything new. They weren't able to write down our Aveira. I'm not telling you your Aveira, so therefore, till the end of days, I'm not going to tell you when you guys are coming back. And when I come back, I'm going to decide when I want to come back, Hashem said. Rabbi Yehuda says at the end of the day, the reason why we're not coming back is for one reason. There was so much charon af in the destruction of the second temple on Tisha B'Av that year. There was so much charon af. There was so much din in the world. Hashem was nishba. Hashem made a swear that I'm not taking them out of Galut until a certain year. And no matter what we do, no matter how much tefillot, how much pogroms, how many holocaust, Hashem is not going to take us back. He's still going to have astarat panim. Till the point, what's worse? When the father doesn't want to see the son at all, or when the son lives in the father's house and the father keeps on ignoring you.
That's the worst.
That's the worst. You live with me in my house and you don't even want to say hello to me? It's better that I didn't come at all. Imagine, Hashem took us back into, He let us come back, and He doesn't want to look at our face. He doesn't want to look at our face. Where does He talk to us from? Behind the wall. Behind the wall, the western wall. Do you know the western wall? I told you guys, that's the back of the Beis HaMikdash. It's not even the front. It's the western. When you would go to the temple, it was from the east. Where are we standing?
In the back.
In the west. And even when we come in, who lives in the east, by the way? Do you know who lives over there? Arabs and Armenians. What the heck are Armenians doing over there? What are they? The biggest anti-Semites in the world. And you know what? The Armenians, I was in Yerushalayim a month or two ago. Right? Arami Oved Avi, Lavan. The Armenians, they want to leave Yerushalayim. They said, we had enough of this whole conflict. We're in the middle. We want to leave. They want to sell their land to Jews. Now, there are some Jews over there. It's their life mission. They even made a show on this. Just to buy back land in the old city. They offer like $3 million on a $500,000 property. Like, they just want to buy everything, right? Now, these Armenians want to sell. They want to get it. They want to go to America. They want to go to Paris. They want to go, right? Get out of there. When the Armenian church hears that they want to sell, they put them in excommunication. Sell to Arabs, sell to Goy, don't sell to the Jew. They believe in Yerushalayim more than we do. How did the Jews get houses in the old city? You know how? It was after the Intifada. All the prices went down. The smart ones came in, bought it all for cheap, and they moved in. Today they have to walk over there with a moket. They have to walk with the armed guards, some of them. They live right next to the Arab shuk and all that stuff. Next to the Arab court, they have to walk around with guards in your own neighborhood. But they say it's the best life we ever have. We can't wish for a better life in our life. That's what they say. To feel Hashem every single second. And one day we have to all go there. What does the Navi Yechezkel says? I'm not going to leave even one out there. That's what the Navi Yechezkel says. Lo otir echad bagoyim. Hashem says. Now the question is, if we don't want to come back, you're going to end up like the Egyptians, like the Jews in Egypt. How many came out? 600,000 men. How many were originally there?
Only 10% came out.
Only 1 out of 5. Right? 20%. 1 out of 5. 20% came out. 20%. 1 out of 5. Chamushim alu b'nei Yisrael. Do you know who did come out? Erev Rav. Why? The Navi Zechariah says the same thing is going to happen any minute. It's going to be big miracles, more than Mitzrayim is going to happen. The Navi Zechariah says, all those Roman Catholics, all those believers, they're going to see the Jews were right. They're going to all convert. The Navi Zechariah says this. They're all going to convert. Too much converts. Well, it's a young man's dream, you know? They're all going to convert. What's going to happen? Then Gog Magog is going to come. And they're going to say, we're not on their side. We're exactly like the Erev. It's going to happen again. Everything is going to happen again, Rabbi said. We get to witness it if we take out those last nitzotzot. Says the Gemara like this. Rish Lakish was bathing in the Jordan River. Comes Zeiri. Zeiri came from Bavel, Iraq. He says to him, Rabbi, you need a hand? Get you out of the water? He says to him, Elaha, I swear in God's name. Saneatach. God hates you guys. You know who Zeiri was? One of the greatest Amoraim, Tzaddik Yesod Olam. So the Gemara says, why did he say God hates you? Because all you guys that live b'chutz la'aretz, God hates all of you.
Who do they begin?
Out! Out! He says, Rish Lakish. That's you say he's your guy, no? Out. He says, God hates all of you. Because why? When Hashem took us back in the second temple with Ezra Sofer, when Hashem took us out, how come you guys didn't come out? You guys all stayed in Bavel, chilled with your families over there, built your houses. Anybody know here the magic number, how many came out? How many emigrated from Babylon to Eretz Israel in the second temple? 42,000. 42,000. That's it.
Oh, everybody wants to stay, huh?
Everybody wants to stay in Babylon. Just chill out, man. Life is good. Listen, I just put Italian tiles in my house. I'm not gonna leave the Italian tiles. God. Triple day, yeah. I put the dry well. How am I gonna leave that? New frigidaire. You can't leave all these things, right? Says the Gemara. So Rish Lakish says, all you Babylonians, God hates all you. Because if you guys would have come up, we had a nice run of about 1,500 years of we're all okay, it's okay, it's fine. You're learning Torah, it doesn't make a difference. So he says, what was the reason we didn't want to come back? Because we were comfortable with Chutz La'aretz. Sometimes when it doesn't get recorded, it's time to try Torah is so chazak, people can't handle it.
That's right.
So it just blew up all the systems over there, right? So in the second Baseless, we didn't come back. 5 things were missing. Nivu'ah, Aron HaKodesh, Urim Betumim, Eshal HaMizbeach. What was the 5th one that was missing?
The menorah, no?
No. Urim Betumim, Aron Kodesh, the Eshal HaMizbeach, Nivu'ah, and
Noah didn't like always.
it did light. The first 40 years it lit. Under Shimon HaTzadik, it lit for 40 years. Shimon HaTzadik was Kohen Gadol for 40 years. It lit. The candle stayed lit. The last thing that was missing was the most important, the Shekhinah in the Beis HaMikdash. The Shekhinah was missing itself, right? So here's the thing where Paras comes in. The Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan said to Rish Lakish, you're wrong! Why are you cursing at all those guys in the Chutz La'aretz? They're funding all the yeshivas now. You're going to curse them out, they're not going to fund us anymore. No, I'm kidding, I'm joking. So now you know why it's not working out. So he says, that's not the reason why it's not the reason why there was no Shekhinah in the second temple. You know why? Who built the second temple? Which nation built it? Who gave the permission?
No, Darius the second.
Darius the second? What was he called? That's his other name. What's his other name? Who was his name? Koresh. Cyrus. The great Cyrus stele, right? We still have it today, the Cyrus stele, right? It's a stele where the proclamation where he lets all the Jews go back to Eretz Israel, right? What happened? Rabbi Yochanan says, when Noah blessed his 3 sons, what did he say to Japheth? Yaf Elohim leYapheth. Japheth, you're very beautiful. That means you get to build a house. Vayishkon, but where will God dwell? Only b'ohalei Shem, when Shem will build it. Who's Shem? The Semites. Who's the Semites? Us. So in the first temple, where a descendant of Shem built it, Vayishkon b'ohalei Shem. But Yaf Elohim leYapheth, I'll let you build it, but you're not going to have divine presence over there. Now, but the Mefarshim say there was a bigger reason why Cyrus didn't have the Zechut. When Cyrus saw that 42,000 Jews left, when he saw that they left, and I was about to tell you guys before it closed down, there was one group of Jews that didn't leave at all almost. Very few of them came to Eretz Israel, the Leviim. There was so little Leviim who wanted to make the trek to Eretz Israel that Ezra cursed them, the Levites, and he said to them, from now on you guys are not getting Ma'aser. Because when you live in Israel, you have to give Ma'aser to the Levi. He got up and he said, from now on, Takana. He was on that level, Ezra Sofer, that he could make a Takana. From now on, all Ma'asrot go to Kohanim. Because you guys didn't want to come up with us? Why should you get to eat from the fruit of the land? Yeah, Onish! Only a very small group of Levites came up with him. Says the Gemara, even though God granted beauty to Japheth by giving him the power to build a second temple, Eina Shechina Shruya Ela Boalei Shem. The Shekhinah only dwells in the tents of Shem. Uparsae, and the Parsim. Menalan de Yefet Katu. How do we know the Persians come from Yefet? It says Yefet had how many main sons? Gomer is the oldest son. Magog is the second son. Madai is the third son. Paras Madai. Yavan, Tuval, Meshech, and Tiras. 8 main sons he had. So the Gemara is not going to go one by one. Who are those sons? You see, there's a nice map over here. You get the art scroll. There's a nice map over here in which he illustrates it. Based on the graph.
Which Gemara is that?
Huh? Yoma, page 10. So he says, Gomer is Germania. Gomer, the oldest son, is Germany. The father country, the fatherland. The only people that the Romans couldn't defeat were the Germans. Right? They won until England, but they couldn't defeat the German tribes, the barbarians they call that. Who at the end sacked Rome? The Visigoths, the German tribes. Right? Who's Magog? Magog ze Canada. Magog is Canada.
Whoa.
That's what it says here. Magog is up. So you woke up? Magog is Canada. What's Canada? We have no clue. So it says over here, Canada is Josephus says it's Scythia. Scythia, that's Ukraine. Ukrainians. Right? So Putin is what? He says Ukraine is really part of Russia. And the book of Yecheskel says that Magog is the northernmost country in the world. What's the northernmost country in the world?
Moscow.
Huh?
Moscow.
Russia.
Russia. Mother Russia.
Mother.
Right?
Russia.
The only people who survived the Russians were the Bukharians. You know that, right?
What do you mean?
Yes. Bukharians and Chabadnikim. The Chabadnikim came after. Yeah, they're not. They're not the real one. The Bukharians survived. The Bukharians were in the Soviet Union. We bowed down to. We had our shuls open and we danced and we did everything. They couldn't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
Right?
We got lucky.
It wasn't luck. It was hard.
I mean, it was big stuff.
Right? It was today in Samarkand. There's like 10,000 people living. There were one Jews to jump back over there. Anyway, so Magog, there is an opinion over here that says Magog is China. It's China. Some say, so he says, there is a rabbi called Rav Aaron Marcus in his book Keset Sofer. He says that Magog is the Mongolian and the Chinese. Genghis Khan. Yeah, you know the Mongols were the biggest conquerors ever, even more than Nebuchadnezzar, Alexander the Great. They conquered all of Asia and Europe. These guys were crazy. 1 in 3 people have Mongolian blood in them. Right?
Mostly all the Mongolian.
Yeah. But centuries later, it says over here, Arab writers say it's the Chinese. In Arabic writing, they refer to the Great Wall of China as the Wall of Al-Magog. That's the Arabs refer to them. That means in the Arabic tongue, Chinese is Magog. So that's the second son. So it's up for debate. Okay? But it looks like it's towards the Russian-Chinese area over there. Those two places. And they're also best friends. Oh, we didn't get to Iran yet. Who's the third son? Yavan. Who's Yavan? You were just there. Greece. Yavan zo Macedonia. Yavan is Macedonia. Alexander the Great was from where? Macedonia. So you see, Magog, Greece, they're all chesh over there. These guys are the bad guys over here. We're always thinking it's the Kushites and all the Balagan comes from Japheth. And Japheth, all his zechut is from Shem. Look how they pay us back. The next one over here, the last one, let's skip to the last one, Tiras. Who's Tiras? Now in Hebrew, what's Tiras?
Corn.
It's corn, right? But that's in modern Hebrew. In Old Hebrew, Tiras, Machloket. One guy say it's a place called Beis Tariki. Whatever. Chadamar zo Paras. But one rabbi said, that's Paras. So Tiras, Paras. Tanya Rav Yosef says, Tiras zo paras. He puts a nail into the bright. He says, no, Tiras is paras. Why is that important? It says inside the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. This is where we get to our times. If you listen to this carefully, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, now, Persia is very important because there was one point of history where Malach Gabriel lost his title. He got fired.
Demoted.
Gabriel was demoted.
How? Yeah.
Basically, his iPad blew up. So, Gabriel was demoted as the angel. Who was in charge? A malach called Dubiel. Dubiel, bear of God. Whose angel is Dubiel? Which country? Paras. So it seems like the closest angel to Kedusha is the Persian angel. Pay attention, it's the only country that's Muslim, not Arab, Muslim, that didn't expel their Jews.
Yeah, but they still hate him.
Huh?
They still hate him.
They hate them like crazy. But they didn't expel them.
Why?
Because they're like Klipat Noga. They have Tovara inside of them. They want to connect to the Kedusha. They want it. That's why they want Yerushalayim. Where in the heck does in the Quran says anything about Yerushalayim? Zero, nothing.
Zero.
But yet the war is called the Mabul of Al-Aqsa. What's a Kesher Shalachem? They know Yerushalayim is the place of where it's the source, it's the powerhouse. They say that. Says Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Atida Romi shetipol be'ad paras. In the future, two countries are going to come back and rule the world. Rome, he's not talking about Rome. Yeah. Rome is the power of Rome. It's the country that turned from Rome to this. You're living in it. It can't be Russia. Why? Because Rome will fall in the hands of Paras. Why would Russia, if you say Russia is Rome, they call themselves the third Rome. If you're going to say Russia is Rome, why would Russia fight against its own best friend? This is his biggest client. But there's another guy who's Rome. And you're sitting inside of it. So in the future, they're going to be two biggest enemies.
After the Sheikh comes?
No, before. It's going to be Romi and Paras. And who will fall in the hands of who? It's going to be Go. And who will fall in the hands of who? According to Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Romi will fall in the hands of Paras. That's what he says. Says the Gemara. So he says over here.
Iran is going to win America.
That's what according to now. There's another opinion. Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai, Rabbi Meir Balanes's Chavruta. He agrees. He says Atida Romi shetipol be'ad Paras. We have two people over here that are saying Rome will fall in the hands of Paras. Now, so what's the meaning behind it, guys? So we're reading a Nivuah right now. What's the meaning? Oh, the protocols of the L. We're planning out this whole thing. I saw this video. So the guy's like, "What do Jews learn in school?" So, by third grade they learn how to control the weather. This guy's an American guy. And he's saying the truth. Like he believes this stuff. Yeah. So it says Kal V'chomer. It's a Kal V'chomer. He says over here, who built the first Beis Hamikdash? Who built the second Beis Hamikdash? Who built it? Paras. Who destroyed it? Rome. So Rome, because they were the destroyers, in the future they're going to fall in the hands of the builders. That's the Kal V'chomer of Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai. So says the Gemara, a third opinion. Amar Rav. Rav says no. You're all wrong. This is the conspiracy now. Atida Paras shetipol be'ad Romi. In the future, Paras will fall in the hands of Rome.
Makes no sense.
So the Gemara says, Amar le Rav Kahana, Rav Asi le Rav. Whoa, we just said a Kal V'chomer. They built it, they destroyed it. So the destroyers have to fall in the hands of the builders. Why are you saying the opposite? That the builders will fall into the hands of the destroyers? Amar lehu im. Yes, they will fall in their hands. Gezerat HaMelechi. It's what God decreed, and end of story. That's how the Gemara ends over there. So we see from this Gemara, at the end of days, there will be two major world players over here. Paras we have Magog, which is probably Russia and Sin. And you have on the other hand Romi, and who's the greatest The greatest friend of Rome. Who's its best friend? Who's America's best Baal Brit? Who's their best?
Israel.
Israel. But not Israel. The Erev Rav. Who put them in charge over there? Who put the Erev Rav? How is America backing them up so much? How come? How come they're sending generals? Because they have interest. Really, the modern state of Israel is a proxy of the United States. Just like Lebanon is a proxy of Iran, Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran, really the modern state of Israel is a proxy of the United States.
What does that mean, a proxy?
So a proxy means it's like
Extension.
I'm not me. I'm not playing the game with me. I'm sending somebody to do the job for me. You understand? So whatever. I don't know. This was Hong Kong, you mean, right? Hong Kong would be like.
That's under attack right now.
Taiwan. They're under attack right now.
US,
the whole fight going on over there, right? They're trying to take over Taiwan. It's another big thing that's happening, right? So the point is over here, there's two world players. The two rabbis have an opinion, but one opinion is based on logic, and Rav says this has nothing to do with logic. This is a nivuah. The nivuah is that we're going to witness this, and it's scary because we're living in Rome. That Rome will fall into the hands of Paras. They will lose to Paras.
Why? All the Jews are here. A lot of the Jews are here.
That's exactly why it's going to fall.
There's no Jews there.
How we're going to get out of here if it's not going to fall?
How are you going to live your Italian?
We're going to leave the Italian tile. That's going to be new. That's where it ends over here. So you're witnessing right now. You're witnessing this Gemara. You're a live witness to this. It could be happening as we speak. Who knows?
Not yet.
And now you're looking at it every single second. But here's the most important thing. Don't believe just because these things look like they're imminent that my life has to stop. This is a big problem with young kids. They hear these things and be like, why should I go to school? Why should I get married? Why should I... That's the wrong way of thinking, right? Because you don't know, by you continuing your life, you're taking all those last nitzot out. So you have to continue with your life. But when these things happen, you should see that it's Yad Hashem. And be ready for it. And be very excited about it. Because you don't know. Maybe we won't fast. You never know. Maybe we won't fast this Shabbat. It's crazy like that. You hear that? I don't have to fast? Amen. Just don't make me fast. It's enough to bring Mashiach if we don't have to fast. May Hashem, but don't run away, guys. We're going to do the tefillah right now. May Hashem bless everybody. May we zocheh to Lisro, to live through Kabbalah Mashiach. May we zocheh to see the Geulah. May we zocheh to see Biad Mashiach Tzidkenu. May we zocheh lekol, the Beit HaMikdash HaShlishi.